Hello, everyone. This is the Jimbo Paris show, and currently a new guest will be coming in very soon. So, yeah, just sit tight. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Okay.
Hey.
How are you?
You.
So, let's get started here, shall we?
Okay, great.
Yep. So, Amy, can you begin by giving me a brief summary about who you are and what you're about?
Yes. Are you hearing feedback?
No, you sound pretty good.
Okay, great. Okay, because you're coming in and out. Okay. I'm a dating and relationship coach. My business is called Motivated to Marry, and I've been helping what I call seriously searching singles to find their true love partner for over 16 years now. My own life story is I was married at 25 after grad school and divorced at 36. I didn't have children with my first marriage, and I never even imagined that I would be in that place. My parents were married over 40 years. My grandparents married over 70 years. I was the first divorce in the family. And so it's things that you never anticipate. But I learned from that, and I took classes, and I even hired a coach when I turned 40. And then I met my husband at 41 and got remarried at 42. And then I decided my life work and my passion was to help other singles to find their true love partners. And so I went back and I got trained and certified as a professional life coach. And one continually needs to be trained and learn and study and stuff like that. So it's a continual process. But it's very fulfilling work. I love helping people kind of what I say come from that struggle place into that like easy, like, wow, I can do this. And and I've got this, place. Yeah.
So can you kind of get into why you were motivated to get your life coach certification and kind of go into the gist of how that worked?
So people were coming to me and I wanted to write a book. I actually wrote a book. I wrote The Motivated to Marry.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. We could fix this later because we're not editing this, but
Yeah. What causes the feedback? Better?
yeah, sounds a little better. So yeah, keep going, keep going.
Okay. Um, so, I actually went to, so I had another business that I closed and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I went to actually a career coach and, they do some tests and things and they look at your skills and interests and aptitudes and things like that. And I already wanted to be writing the book, on helping people. And I did write a book called Are You Motivated to Marry? Now There's a Better Method to Dating and Relationship. It's a small book. It's an ebook. And then when I wanted to do the bigger, better book, I actually went into another title called Get It Right This Time. And so, I just felt like people were sending people to me because fortunately I'm extroverted. I don't have trouble meeting people. It was like meeting the right person who wanted the life that I wanted. I wanted marriage and a family. So when you're dating in your 40s, people had their families already. People didn't want any more children. People don't want to get married. So, I started developing this concept about motivated to marry, and actually it came to me when I was at a happy hour, and I was talking to this guy, and he was cute, and he's told me he actually played an instrument for a band, and that his band was going to Europe for 6 months. And what popped up in my head was, "You're not motivated." And so, to really kind of hone in on people who have the same goal and same vision that you do is kind of the work that I do with my clients. And so I actually decided to go and get certified with an accredited life coaching because I felt the skills would help me, and it does. It's wonderful because as a coach, I look at your whole life and then I look to see how dating does or not fit in with your whole life. And what I notice is sometimes people put it at the bottom of their to-do list, in terms of relationships, because if they think it's hard or they want to avoid it for some reason, they do. Excuse me, there are people who are motivated and this is like a top priority. And those are the people who find me actually. And I really am able to help people find that true person fairly quickly. Actually, a lot of my clients within 6 months of doing my coaching program meet that special person.
So you also have an MBA from Georgetown. Can you kind of get into your whole story about how you got that as well?
Well, I actually have an undergraduate degree in engineering. And I'm no mechanical engineer. I mean, I didn't even pass the PE exam. I took that 8-hour exam. And it really, when I did those evaluations, when I went to a career coach, I'm like, it came up marketing, sales, coach, things that were more people oriented. And I don't know why I was like directed in that direction. My mother wanted me to be an accountant or an architect. I actually have a very good visual sense. So I before I had the coaching business, I actually owned and operated a women's clothing store, and I did that for 13 years. So, but that was using my MBA and stuff like that. So I actually wanted to pivot. And I decided that I like making business decisions rather than technical decisions. So when they made me design a screw, I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm like, I can't handle this. Don't put me in an office, like a little office without windows, and give me, tell me to then, it was CAD CAM stuff and things like that. And I was miserable. So I needed to figure my way out of that. So actually, I actually pursued my desire for my retail clothing dream, and that was fun. It was a fun business. It was a great business, a very people-oriented business. I built it up, but retail's a very tough business, especially now with Amazon and the department stores, and very hard. And glad, now that was a pandemic, I was glad that I was not in retail, because my coaching business last year, 2020, was the best it's ever been. Yeah, so people were stuck at home thinking about what their real goals were, and they had time to coach because they weren't traveling and they weren't out and about. And so,
now, you also said that you worked on several other businesses. How were you an image wardrobe consultant?
so when I closed the retail store, I had already gone through. I learned a process. I was doing the Beautiful Seasons that Color Me Beautiful stuff, where I was helping people with their, wardrobing, picking the right outfits for their shape. And I had makeup and skincare and stuff like that. So I was already doing that and utilizing that in my store, actually. So it was a very easy transition. My clients were very upset that I closed the store. I got married in 2002, and then I closed the store in 2003 when I decided that I needed to reduce my stress, and we were trying to have a family. And so I was in my 40s, and so it was easy, So wardrobe consulting was an easy business for me to start up. I called it Amy's Eye for Style. I was able to go into people's homes and do a wardrobe edit and make suggestions, do personal shopping. It was something I could do from home, and something I could do in the middle of everything else I was trying to accomplish. But then I decided I did want to pursue the life coaching, and then I actually enrolled in 2003 in the Coach Training Institute, and got certified by 2005.
So was the Coach Training Institute any different from the other thing you did for your coaching certification, or was that the same thing?
That's the same thing. I have 2 certifications. I have the training from my coach school, the certification, which is the CPCC. And then I also have the PCC, the professional coach certification from the ICF, the International Coach Federation, which is a big, it's an umbrella organization that promotes coaching ethics, coaching standards, and is trying to legitimize coaching in the eyes of the world. It's kind of like the Bar Association for coaches. It's not the only coach association, but it's one of the biggest and one of the most recognized. So, and there's
yeah, and you're also a professional speaker as well.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to become a professional speaking. I knew speaking was an important part of my business, in terms of getting the word out, in terms of what I do. And so I'm one of these people who I feel like I never have enough skills. Like I need to improve. And so I actually found there's a speakers group, the NSA, National Speakers Association in Washington, D.C. I started attending meetings, and then I went to their speakers and training program. And that was fun. That was very, helpful to me to learn how the business of speaking. And I realized through that experience, I'm a coach that speaks. I'm not a speaker that coaches. And there is a difference. So there are speakers who are professional speakers who make their most money from speaking, and coaching is on the side and an added revenue source. For me, the coaching is my main revenue source, and I utilize speaking in order to promote my business. So I do workshops and those kind of things. And I've been doing classes on Zoom, and there's some organizations that I speak for. Like I'm a speaker for the Single Life Today, which is a 50+ community. And then there's another group in Washington, D.C. called Professionals in the City, and I do classes for them.
And why do you enjoy what you do?
Well, I think, fulfillment is really what we're after and enjoying what I do, but I really enjoy helping my clients with that aha moment. Like, they come to me and they're struggling and they're losing hope. And I say I take my clients from doubtful to hopeful. And, like, is this going to work for me? Can I do this? I work with people from 30 into their 70s. So imagine a 60-year-old woman who's divorced or widowed and she hasn't dated in 30 years, 40 years. And so she's like, what is this? And then online dating wasn't even in the world when I was dating the first time. We had classified ads, and you met people organically. Well, today people are busy, and online dating. Actually, 80% of my successfully coupled clients met through online dating, but after I took them through my values-based process. So I go deep into people and really like help people communicate what their life vision is. I'll help them communicate what their values, their important relationship values are. And I help them put them in their profile so they're attracting the right person. I believe what you put out there is what you attract. And so actually my clients have a very high success rate with online dating. It's not the only thing. I do what I call a comprehensive dating plan where we look at face-to-face opportunities as well as online opportunities. But given the pandemic, online was really, mostly, besides some speed dating, which is very superficial, and you only have a couple of minutes to make a first impression. And I've only had one client who met someone through speed dating that's met and married. And I've only had one client in 16 years that met through a matchmaking service. So those they don't go deep enough. And they're okay on the surface level, but once people may be attracted to someone, but then you find out things about that person that you just say, oh, I can't live with that, or we don't want the same things, or, it's just that I can't, So that's why I like the online dating, because you get a little more, you get some information if they put the information down, but you can actually glean certain things that you need to glean. Like I'm working with a woman who wants to have a family. So, like meet this guy and he put nothing about kids. He put nothing about family in his profile. And I said, well, you may want to have that conversation sooner than later because, I was in a situation where I met somebody and we would started to date. We really liked each other. Things seemed to go in the right direction. And then I said, well, my goal is to get married and have a family. And he said, babies? You want babies? He said, I'm done. He had 2 kids already. He raised his ex-wife's 2 kids. And so he was younger than me, but he was already, done. And so I had to make a tough decision, and I did decide to leave. But so when I met my husband, I had the conversation sooner than later about my goals. So I help my clients communicate what they need to communicate in the time that they need to communicate. Now, you don't hit somebody over the head when you just meet them. You first have to see, do I like this person? Does the conversation flow? And am I somewhat attracted to the person? So, there's some vetting that has to be done before you would share your innermost desires and needs and things like that.
So, why are you most proud of this business compared to your other several businesses?
Well, I'm proud of different businesses for different reasons. I mean, I took a space in the retail business, like they call it a vanilla box, and created an environment. And I was really proud of that. And I had clients that came year and year. I run into people who say, oh, I shopped at your store. I still have a dress I love. I mean, just recently, and it's been since 2003, so 20 years. So that is something that I'm proud of. But what I do right now is I really I help people feel more confident in themselves. I help people feel more self-assured. And I help my clients give them tools to make better decisions for their life. And you can't, that's like impacts everything. And, I actually like to check in with my clients when it's their birthday. I text them happy birthday. I might reach out to them, and I find out things about them. I found out that 2 clients got married in 2020 that I didn't know of. And that they've moved on with their lives and they're accomplishing their goals. I guess I have a value about being a positive force, a positive catalyst. Having people move from, like I said, from putting them in a better place. And, just make lifelong connections. And I am a connection. That's really who I am down deep.
And this kind of falls into a different thing. Why do you think you are who you are? You say you're a very extrovert person. I could tell, and you're a person that likes to connect a lot. Why do you think you're like this? Do you think this had any connection with what you're doing now?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I have to be in a people business. I have to be. I mean, the only way I survived the pandemic is the fact that I was in constant contact with people. I'm in networking groups, and I'm in the women business owners in my local area. I'm in another business owner group. Connection for me is everything, and staying in touch with people. And so I think I sought a business that met my needs. I mean, when I had the store, I was around people all day, and it just needed my need to meet people and be around people. I have my moments where I've had enough, and you have to shut down too. It's a balancing act. But I think, the fact that, I managed through this pandemic was that I always knew I had people to talk to and meet up with, and I was helping them. And, and I'm in touch with my colleagues, and, there's a lot of networking, online networking. I'm on summits, I'm on podcasts, those kind of things. I get to meet very interesting people and make lifelong connections. It is a theme in my life, and I think my father was a connection person. He was self-employed. He was one of my models, my entrepreneurial model, and unfortunately, he died early because of an accident. And his funeral, he had a lot of people there because he helped a lot of people. He was an attorney, and he helped a lot of families through really rough times. And it's just gave back to his community. And I think it's what's the legacy that we want to leave. And what I'm doing now, actually, because my coaching program has been very successful, I'm actually launching my coach training, where I'm going to train other life coaches to be motivated to marry coaches. So other people could do the work I'm doing, and I can support these coaches and help them build the businesses that I have built.
That's a good answer. And kind of to get more into this, what would you do if someone else was in your shoes? What type of advice would you give them?
You mean in my shoes in terms of what? Trying to decide.
Being a business owner.
Being a business owner?
And a life coach.
Well, as a business owner, you need to have a good support system. And there are many years that you don't make any money. So I even had the IRS question my business. I've been through an audit. It's almost like this badge of honor, right? You had to prove I was a viable business. I was spending a lot of money. I knew I would get pregnant, and that I didn't have time to do certain things. So I took some extra risks and things like that. You do have to have a tolerance. You have to have good mentors. I mean, I have a business coach. I have several good mentors in my corner. And, and it's true. You have to pay to play, in a sense. You have to, invest in yourself. And I have invested in myself, and it's paid off. So I have a six-figure business, but that's because I've hired coaches who've created six-figure businesses and paved the path for me. I didn't always like their path. You have to find the path that works for you. And I realized, just like dating, you have to find what works for you in terms of promoting your business, and what's comfortable for you. There's so many ways to put yourself out there and market, as you know. And so what's going to work for you? What can you be consistent? So I had a podcast. I had the Motivated to Marry podcast. And unfortunately, the woman who was helping me put it together, she decided to go to a different career. And then I looked at it and said, what is this doing for me right now? And I analyzed it. I said, it was really nice to have the podcast. But A, I was promoting other people. And B, I wasn't getting the return on the investment. So, I decided to go in different directions. And so, for me, you have to decide how you're going to build your business. Having a good referral network is very important to me. And speaking has been very good, and to find opportunities to speak. But teaching a class where they get to experience me and how I teach. And so somebody says, this is what I want. She's exactly who I need to be with right now. So finding those opportunities, I think, with the marketing, I know I'm going to be training, helping my coaches develop their businesses and to help them really recognize what's going to work for them. I do consistently, I put out a newsletter, I have an email list, building my email list is important. I have a Facebook group. I have the Motivated to Marry Singles Facebook group. I actually started a meetup in the DC area called DMV, Seriously Searching Singles. And so I'm trying some new things, to see what's good for me and what doesn't. But if it's too much time and energy and I'm not getting the return on my energy, money investment, I'm going to, probably say, okay, I've done it. I had enough.
So I noticed you've been interacting with, a lot of different people, and in general, who is the ideal person to coach? Who is a good candidate to be coached? Because you've coached a lot of people, and I kind of want to get your take on that.
Well, there's people who are open to coaching, and they're open to the exploration. And there are some people who I call know-it-all, and run into them, and they're like, well, what is she going to do for me? They have like a little barrier, like they're like, it's going to work. Am I going to get my money's worth? They're not as open to the process, and they're very suspect. And I feel like I always have to prove myself. And then there are other people who really open to the process, and they're like, they see the value I have to offer. I have a coaching program, the Motivated to Marry, and it's not like someone comes to me like a therapist and we just talk. I have a process. I have a system that I take my clients through. I go very deep into people's values. We utilize your values to really understand which ones need to resonate and be in a relationship with somebody. So we then use them as like a radar, like a homing device in a sense. So that's my process and my system. So people come to me, are open to learning, open to exploring, and they really see the value of coaching. They probably have had coaching from like a career coach or some other coaching, maybe a personal trainer or wellness professional, something like that. And they're willing to invest in their personal growth. So those make my most. And then it's somebody who puts finding a life partner like the top 3 goal of their life, and that they're going to put time and attention to it, and they aren't putting it on the bottom of their to-do list. Because I find people come to me and they're very busy, and as a life coach, I have to help them rebalance their life so they have time for relationships to come into their life. If you're too busy, and somebody wants a relationship, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to move on to somebody else who does have time for them. So, again, it's having the time and energy and wherewithal. So, I have clients. I had a 30-year-old client, and he was so cute. He was a very, what I call him, he's a nerd. And he just needed to know how to be in a relationship. He had no clue. He really didn't have, even though his parents are married and he had a sister, he wanted to learn and he was open to learning, and he found my process very helpful. The pandemic hit and he had some, I call external roadblocks. But then I've had 70-year-old clients who was widowed and, hadn't dated in a long time. And we had a great time. I got him online. He met, a couple of women, and he did eventually meet his wife. He's now married. So, I did the gambit. I have people who've never been married and they're in their 50s and 60s and 70s and beyond. And there are people who've been divorced and widowed. So what I love is always a new challenge. There's always a new person with a whole new set of it's them. I have to learn about that person and help that person and get them on the right path. And so it's never dull.
So why do you value the process so much?
Because I find it works. And well, let me give you an example. So I did a lot of fertility and I gained a lot of weight. And then I got pregnant and I gained more weight. And so I had to lose 50 pounds. Or I ended up losing actually 35. So I found a plan that I believed in, a system that I could follow. I found a group of people who were supportive of me. And you have to check for accountability and support. And I've been on other programs. I've been on Weight Watchers. I've been on other stuff. And see, I never had a weight problem until I hit my mid-40s. And so here I was in my 50s, dealing with this, and I didn't want to be a fat mom. And I'm in this business. You got to look good, right? I'm competing against coaches like half my age, and so just to feel good about myself, because I do have that value of being stylish, active, and healthy and slim. So that is a value of mine. And I like clothes. I like to wear nice clothes. So finding something that works, that you could stick with, that you believe in, and that you get the support and accountability has worked for me. And so I do the same for my clients. I have my value-based approach that gives people the tools that they can hone in on the right people. And this is not something I've been doing this for over 15 years, 16 years. And I see it work time and time and time again. And so how can you not believe it, right?
And in general, what is the best piece of advice you could give to somebody who actually is a coach? Because you kind of went into, I want to start coaching coaches. So what's some good advice you would give to those coaches out there?
Well, I wrote an article that's on LinkedIn about the top reasons why you should niche. And I resisted niching when I was an early coach, because I'm like, I can coach anyone. But today, you really need to have a focus. People need to know what they're coming to you for. And once they come to you, you can start coaching them on their whole life, because that's what I do. But they're coming for a relationship. But sometimes other things crop up, and we have to deal with that first before they're really ready for a relationship. So to really kind of pick your lane. And even though I'm a relationship coach, I focus on people who are looking for serious, committed relationships, or motivated to marry. So there are a lot of dating coaches out there, and I really recommend, if anyone's listening and in that space, that they really look at what their training is and what their background is, because there's a young woman running around in my backyard who has no credentials at all, and she's calling herself a dating coach. And uh, oh, good. Did you lose me?
Yeah, I lost you there. It's fine. Let's just keep going.
Did you hear? Were you able to hear me?
Just repeat what you said, please.
Okay, so I've just frozen. So I basically, can you hear me? You can hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why I froze. What I said is I value credentials, that there are people out there calling themselves dating coaches who don't even have any training or credentials. And, they just come out of writing a book or doing something that they had an experience, and then they say I'm a dating coach. So I really highly recommend you, do your due diligence, and and that's what another thing is. I believe in getting training and having the skills to help people, because then you'll know what to do. That there's a methodology, and there's some definite coaching skills that you need to have. And like today, I was coaching a client, and I basically said, I asked her, what do you want? What's important to you? I didn't tell her, or she asked me a question, and I said, well, what's important to you? Like, it's important as a coach not to answer your client's questions always, but sometimes you answer it with a question. They get more out of it in the long run. I mean, I wear two hats. I wear a coaching hat and I wear a consulting hat. So there's times I am consulting and there's times I'm coaching.
Why do you separate the two?
Oh, because that's the way we're trained. There's actually there's consulting, coaching, and therapy. And there's a difference between each one. And as a coach, we learn the differences. So to be an ICF coach, you have to understand the difference between coaching and consulting. Consulting is advice giving. I'm telling you. Coaching is asking the questions so you get to the conclusion on your own. And actually, it's more meaningful when you come to the conclusion on your own than somebody telling you. And I've been in situations where people said, oh, you need to do this. And these are coaches, and these are certified coaches. And I'm like saying to myself, no, I don't need to do it. That doesn't fit me. But if she asked me the question, or led me to the conclusion based on the line of questioning, then I would have owned. I'd have told me I should only coach men. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. I mean, I love the conversation between the men and women. In my coaching groups, I have both men and women. A lot of the coaches out there have just women or just men because the marketing is. But I like to have them together, and that's what makes me unique.
And now to kind of get into a little bit more, what do you see the future of your goals as a coach in your business going ahead of time?
Well, again, I hope to be training. I'm working on my first pilot, and I got it ICF certified, so it's been accredited. I want to train other coaches to do the Motivated to Marry coaching, and I see myself having about 2 or 3 dozen coaches under my belt. And for me to be still working with clients, because I stay in touch, but not at the level that I'm working now. I right now have about 2 dozen clients. I do both groups and personal coaching. So, and so I have my Meet Your Mate This Year group, and then I do have my private one-on-one clients. So that's kind of where I see myself. I would like a little more time today, a little bit more flexibility. I work a lot at night because of my clients. That's when they're available. And so I do work back on that. And I want to be able to, if there's a client at a certain price range, be able to give them to another coach in my community. And I envision having a membership group where there's motivated to marry events, and even maybe a motivated to marry dating site.
So why do you do group coaching and one-on-one coaching? I usually find that coaches either do one or the other exclusively.
Well, I invite my one-on-one clients to be in the group, and some people like to be with other people, and they want a group experience. And I find that people join because of the group, and they want to be with other people, and they want to learn, and they want to hear their perspectives. And so I don't do big groups. I do my groups are about a dozen men, 12 men and women. I like the small group experience, and it's enough people to get a conversation going, but not too big that people feel ignored. And so again, it's really the high touch. I'm a high touch coach. So I actually went through a coach training to see what kind of model I should be based on my personality. And I came up with an intimate connector. So I like small, more intimate, one-on-one, and also those smaller group experiences. If I'm in a very big group, I'm happy because unless I'm in a big room, with people, you can kind of connect with one. But on a virtual basis, it's not easy. I do it, but it's.
So I think I've heard lots of coaches talking about this, but which one do you prefer since COVID? Do you prefer the virtual or do you prefer more of the one-on-one?
So one-on-one in terms of
like real life, face to face.
I offer both. So if they live in my area, they can come see me. I've had people in my backyard now that I'm vaccinated. I have seen a client or two. From a standpoint, the virtual, once you have a relationship established, I actually do my kickoff session at my client's home if they live within an hour of me. So I like to see my clients in their environment. You learn a lot about a person when you walk into their home. And they feel comfortable. So they're able to open up a little bit more. So I really like some one-on-one. I miss my one-on-one clients, my face-to-face clients, but it can be a little time consuming too. I mean, when they come, and I can't have someone in my house right now unless they come to my porch because I still have my son at home and my husband working from home. So it's a little too crowded here. It's not too messy. I can't keep the house clean enough. And then I once had a potential client out on my deck. It was last July, and by the time like noon, was the sun was coming out, he was sweating. I gave him some water and stuff like that. So now I have of course we've improved our decks since last year, so we have more outside space that we can have people. And I live in a townhouse community, so I do have neighbors, so I have to kind of be careful about that. So, but they used to come to me, and I used to see them, and I really enjoyed them. But not all my clients live close by, so I have clients in California, Massachusetts, Chicago, I've even had a Mexican client, in Florida, clients all over, and even Europe. Yeah.
So what are your best, what times were you the most proud of what you do? What are your sort of high points, those prize moments?
When my clients send me a picture of them with love, when they say they've got engaged, when just when people feel like they've feel more at peace with themselves. That they say that they are doing better, that somebody who wasn't going out to events have tried that. They haven't been online, and now they're meeting people and communicating with people. Just, whenever people have breakthroughs, I think I'm the most proud of that in terms of my work. Yeah.
And what other things are you kind of doing now to sort of reach out and hit new types of customers, in a sense? Are you finding that certain customers resonate more with different things?
Well, I have my meetup group and I'm doing some speaking, and I have like a class coming up I call it Connection Circles. So helping people learn how to connect more with themselves and others. And also, we do breakout rooms so they get to meet some of the other people in the group. And I've been trying to keep up with that. I've been finding that the promotion of my coach training has eaten into my time. So I'm not as consistent. I'm in some networking groups, and I'm in a very close knit networking group where we really kind of work one-on-one and recommend clients to each other. So referrals are very important for me. People know people are in this space and they say, oh, you have to talk to Amy. And so in some ways I get new clients is through referrals, through my speaking opportunities, and through my website, my SEO. I do blogging. I have a newsletter that goes out. So, and then, every year I try to do a podcast and get out, and I do Facebook Lives. I have a Facebook group, and I have almost 1,000 people in my Motivated to Marry Singles Facebook group. So I'm trying to be more consistent. So I know with marketing, the big thing is if you're going to do something, do it consistently, so people know you're going to show up, so they can plan on it. And so that's what I do with, because I'm a mom and I still have my mother to help out and spend time with. And I have to still have my husband that I have to, maintain the marriage. And so, it is the balancing act. And life changes day to day, especially with COVID, and my son's getting vaccinated right now, and we're doing this podcast. And so life is going to change, and so it's really about keeping up with what's going on and doing the best I can. So, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, I really, really just try to do the best I can and help my clients and be there for them as well.
This kind of goes into my final question. What do you sort of value the most when it comes to prioritizing things?
Really my family and my friends, and then my clients. And my husband, fortunately, I met a man who, and this is a big thing, supports my dream and supports my value of helping others, and is not jealous of it, and doesn't get jealous of the time I spend. So I married a more reserved man who needs time for himself and is okay being by himself. And I had to get used to the fact that he's okay getting used to being by himself. Because I was like, you sure I can go? You're going to be okay? Yeah, fine. Leave me alone. And he watches the ball game or something like that. And he needs that. He needs that recharge time. So, yeah, I value my family. I have there for my son. He's in middle school, and there's always, like I said, things change on a dime. And so, I have to do the best I can. I mean, I thought I was going to launch the coach training in May. It's not happening what I thought. So I look to say, okay, then when can I launch it? So you do the best you can. That's my philosophy.
Now, I also notice you're talking about consistencies too. So why do you value consistency so heavily?
Because I'm in a lot of marketing groups. And I know that's what works. If you're going to be marketing your business, is to be consistent. I have a newsletter that goes out every week. It's not easy, but it goes out every week. At least I'm emailing my clients once a week. I mean, I'd like to be emailing them more, but I also don't want to be a pain in the butt. And I want them to look forward to it. And yeah, so consistent. I'm sure with your podcast, you're being consistent. You have so many shows going out, so often. I couldn't keep my podcast going consistently, so I dropped it. And whatever you do, I think, you need to. I have a meetup group. They expect to have meetups, and I'm trying to stay consistent. So I try to plan at least one talk, and I have some clients and friends who are like one's doing yoga, but she had to go to India to see her parents. So try our best. But I think people want to know that they can count on you, and you're building trust, and you're building a relationship with your audience, and so being consistent is very important.
And you also kind of mentioned doing the best that you can. Why do you value that as well?
Well, some of us have a perfection kind of thing, and we try to do everything, and we get scared of, like, I was scared to put out my coach training because it's not perfect, but it's good, and it's really good. And actually, my mentor that I'm working with is like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. You really need to, and she's a single woman, and she's been through my whole program, and she's just met somebody, and she says, well, what you preach and what you teach is very important and works. And so she's kind of like, good. And I have other coaches who say, perfection's for another life, and good enough. They won't, and this is a pilot program, so I'm going to elicit feedback. I'm not charging my full rate because I want to get some feedback, and I want them to help me improve it. So you just got to get started sometimes. You just got to try it and do it, fall on your face, get back up, or get some feedback and tweak it. Nothing's perfect, so you have to kind of get out there and just move forward. And I see the people who just get out and start doing it, they get further ahead because you learn what works, what you learn what doesn't work, and then you improve it as you go along, right? I'm sure you did this with your podcast.
So what are some final remarks you'd like to say to the audience, something that they could take away from this?
Well, follow your dreams, get some support. Coaching profession has shown that the people who get coached get further quicker. Don't, invest in yourself, invest in your personal growth and your knowledge and your learning, and enjoy the process. Like life is to enjoy it. If you're not happy and you're miserable, well, let's change it. Let's find something that's going to make you want to wake up, I look forward to, meeting with my clients. I look forward to, my day and the creative process.
Well, thank you again. This was a very good interview. Appreciate it. I wish your business the best of luck.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.